Welcome back, everyone. I'm Christopher Brannon with the Coeur d'Alene Public Library and the Cooperative Information Network.
And I'm George Williams. I'm the Next Search Catalog Coordinator at Northeast Kansas Library System. And we have a guest.
Yay! A returning guest, so we must be doing something right.
My second appearance. I'm Jason Rubb. I'm the Seek and Find Coordinator at the Southeast Kansas Library System. Welcome,
Jason. We are sponsored by koha-US. You can find koha-US at koha-us.org, and you'll find all of our resources that we share out to the Koha community, whether you're in the US or not. Also, a reminder, you will find all of our videos. These videos that we record, we keep them stored under Learn and video playlists. You'll find all of our videos there, as well as other videos that we have curated and taken from other sources. But you can also find our videos at on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/koha-US, no dash.
Why would you want to go to YouTube?
Because if you want to be notified when we post our new videos, you can subscribe to our channel. You can also subscribe to our playlist if you specifically want these videos. You can like the videos that you enjoy and let us know what floats your boat. And you can also comment on our videos. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if we did something completely inaccurate, or if something worked well for you, if you enjoyed that. We'd love to get comments. So please, by all means, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, and let us know what you liked so that we can continue working in the right direction. So I'm going to.
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, today we're going to be talking. Well, okay, I have to say this came to mind for me when we were going over some items where we were modifying the Koha homepage dash and adding elements that aren't usually there. And I actually thought it would be a great idea if we could have something there to notify us when we have holds that are waiting, rather than having to go to a different page and go search and find out whether or not there are holds waiting. We had talked about it a little bit, and then you brought up the fact that there was something out there, and so I'm going to hand this off to you. Go for it.
Yeah. So what happened to me is that there was one of our staff at one of our 51 libraries brought to my attention that there was a title out there that had 3 items attached to it at 3 different libraries, and they thought that all 3 of those items might be different than the bibliographic. They might not all go with that bibliographic record. They think that maybe there was somebody added a wrong title, added a wrong item to that title, and then maybe it got merged with something else. Anyway, this happened back in August, and I put item requests on all 3 of those items. And 2 of them arrived at my office pretty quickly, and I was able to determine, yes, those are 2 different titles. They're on the same bibliographic record. And one of them didn't come.
It just took a couple extra days, right?
No. I put these requests on in August, and it was like a week ago that I realized, I've still got these things sitting on my desk because I'm waiting for the 3rd one to come in. And I thought, well, okay, maybe it's checked out. And so I looked it up, and it hasn't checked out in the last 5 years, which actually makes it a good candidate for weeding, but that's another story. Wow. But I looked at the library's hold list at their holds queue, and they are a very small library. They're not our smallest library, but they are in the bottom 5 as far as size goes. They had 81 items in their holds queue. And so I called up and I said, can I talk to the director? And they said, well, she won't be until this afternoon. I said, well, I'm just calling because, there's an issue where holds haven't been pulled in a long time. And she said, that's my job. I guess I haven't done that in a while, have I? And I said, yeah, it looks like you might not have done it since August. And she said, oh, crap, I guess I haven't done it since August. And so it occurred to me at that time, that this would be an opportunity to put a holds counter on the homepage somewhere so that when people log in, they're just going to know automatically how many holds they have in the holds queue.
Well, that would be really handy.
It would, and and we talked about it at some point in the past about it would be nice to have something there. And then oddly enough, the next day I was at a koha-US meeting and Jason was there, and he has a similar issue and he came up with a different solution. That's why I thought it'd be fun to have him here to show his solution. His solution's more fun, quite frankly. So let me share my screen and show you what I came up with though. Is on the home page here, I put a little box up here and I put a big, huge button in it that says holds queue, one item in the holds queue. And I'm currently logged in at Northeast Kansas Library System. If I switch my library to, let's go to Ottawa is one of our bigger libraries, Ottawa, Kansas. If I switch to Ottawa, they have 41 items in their holds queue.
Nice.
If I switch to Baser is another one of our bigger libraries. They have 30 items in their holds queue. So no matter which library you log into, it's going to populate that counter with the number of items that are on hold currently at that library that are in the holds queue. This is our holds queue gets rebuilt every hour at 52 minutes past the hour, so 8 minutes till. So this, when the holds queue gets rebuilt, this will update. But I did more because we have some libraries, you can run the holds queue by going over here to circulation and then clicking here. And I'm not going to do that because that'll bring up some confidential information.
Right.
But I have this other report that we run at some, especially at our bigger libraries, called priority holds queue. And so if I click on this big button, that's actually what it does, is it runs the priority holds report for the library that you're logged in at. So currently these are the 30 items that are on hold. And this report will designate something as highest priority is something that is on hold to be picked up at that library. So this James Patterson book is on hold for a borrower there at the Baser library. Those are the highest priorities. And then high priority means that that Baser has a copy and it's supposed to be picked up someplace else, but Baser is currently the only library that has one available. So that's going to stay on this, that's going to stay in the holds queue at Baser until somebody fills it. And then finally at the bottom, there are ones that don't have any designation. Those are things that could be filled by other libraries. Some of our libraries, they have a courier vehicle that can't carry all of the materials at once. And so some of those bigger libraries, they run the priority reports that they can try to fill the highest priority, the high priority items before they move down the list to the ones that don't have that.
Now, do any of these priorities change based on how long something's been waiting?
No, I've never built that into there because I usually don't have a problem with people ignoring their holds queue, or at least I didn't think I had a problem with people ignoring their holds queues for months and months and months.
Right.
But that's something I should probably look at too. But the way this works is it's pretty simple. It's got two reports. So there's the holds priority report, and it works kind of like I said, it looks at the temporary holds queue, I believe, to figure out, what needs to be filled. The other report that's in here is the holds queue count. Let's see where. This is the report that generates the button.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did is, instead of using a whole bunch of jQuery to create the button and then use the report to populate it, I actually used the concatenation features in the report to make the report create the button. So when I'm grabbing the data from the JSON report, the JSON report has got all of the HTML in it to actually create the button.
Okay.
That way it's just less stuff in the jQuery. And then And then of course is the actual jQuery. Just way down here towards the bottom. Which is, you know, it's running this first part is saying only run this jQuery on the home page.
Mhm.
And then it's getting the logged in branch code and storing that as a variable. And then the get JSON is running that report and it's plugging in that branch that you're logged in at, so that that's always the branch that it's running the report for. And then it's taking the JSON data and plugging it into this little placeholder that I created here, right above, right at the top of the news feed. So it's actually pretty simple in what it's doing. But I think, you know, we just turned this on last week, and so far people are liking it because, you know exactly how many holds you have in your holds queue without having to go run it. It'll tell you there on the home page, and then instead of having to go to the circulation page and click on another link to run the report, you just click on that button and it's right there.
And it's not the same report. It's something a little
it's
different.
the exact same data. It's just in a different order. It's
Right.
just saying it's at the top of the page are the things that are highest priority, and then underneath those are the high priority, and then underneath those are the other things. Currently,
cool.
right now at Baser, they've only got 30 items on their holds queue, but this morning they had over 100.
Wow.
Because they've already, you know, it's 11 o'clock here, so they've already gone in and done their holds queue for the day. But some of the bigger libraries, it's not uncommon to regularly have over 100 items in their holds queue, just kind of depending on the workflow and which library it is. You know, some of our libraries, if they had 100 things on their holds queue, that's like 10% of the library practically. So, but you know, Baser and Leavenworth are bigger libraries. It's not uncommon to have over 100 items. So, but Jason went about doing something similar, and I'll let him talk about that now.
Very cool.
So similar problems to George, where I have people ignoring the holds queue. And we were discussing it at a users group, and some ideas flew around, and I just kind of executed on those ideas. So the first thing I did, so we do use just the vanilla holds queue at my libraries. That's what everybody's trained to do. They're trained to come to the circulation homepage and go from there. I have other information on the circulation homepage, so I want them to be directed there. So I did a few different things than what George is doing. The first one, I added the count to the holds queue button itself. So, and I'm just using bootstrap labels here so that I don't have to worry about styling them or anything too extensively. Yeah. So at this library that I'm logged in at, they have 3 holds on the holds queue. If I switch over to a library that's got more than 20 holds, it turns red. If they don't have any holds, there's a 0. The glow is controlled by the age of the oldest hold on the queue. So if the hold is, if there's a hold on the queue that's over a week old, then it starts glowing, because
Nice.
This is like passive aggressive pestering was my goal. So like I
Now,
have a library.
is this something that's been waiting for a while that is available, or is it just that it's been a while since it's been filled?
So it's going off the date that the hold was placed. So
Okay.
there could be a situation where a hold was suspended and then it's like a year old now, and it's just now popping up on the queue. But I still want to bring attention to the fact that that hold is a year old, because that was the problem that I've got a library that's like just ignoring holds. So I'm trying to make that as obvious as possible. One other thing that I did, just to add to the convenience factor, is like when you click on this, usually you have to run it again. So like you click it and then you have to pick your filters and click it again. I just swapped the link out so that it runs it directly, because my libraries are never filtering things anyways. So I want to go to,
You probably don't want them to filter things, do you?
no, I don't.
You want them to
And-
just fill the holes. Yeah.
Right. And generally, so, okay. So when I run the queue, it comes up like this. If my libraries need to run and see what's on somebody else's queue, they can use it here. So like if they
Right.
click the link and go directly to the queue, that's one less click. So what I was trying to do is reduce clicks. The discussion that came up during the users group was that some libraries got out of the habit of running the queue because they don't have things on there very often. My smallest libraries often don't have things on their queue. So if there's a 0 there, then they know they don't have to run it. But if there's a number there, then they run it. So it's supposed to improve workflows as well. Once you get over to the queue, I've added these, again, trying to be passively aggressive, obnoxious. These little emojis that shake and rattle. And there's 3 different ones. So if it's over a week, it gets an alarm clock and it's yellow. If it's over a month, it gets a little calendar and it's orange. And then if it's over a year, which should never happen, but it does, there's a skull and it's red. And they all glow so that it's obnoxious. And it wastes a little extra toner too, because they have to
So-
print those emojis out.
You were saying that this does include items that are suspended, so it'll.
No,
do
no, no,
this? No? Okay,
no.
If they're
So-
suspended, they won't show up in the holds queue, so they
Awesome.
won't be there.
okay.
Yeah. But once they become unsuspended, it's still using that original hold date.
Right, okay,
So that
okay,
can-
I get it now.
That factors into the calculation. And then the last thing that I did to sort of positive reinforcement, I don't know if I'm logged into the right library, but if it's got 0 and they click it, then there's confetti. So
That's awesome.
positive feedback. But now that I've added that, if it's 0, they're probably not going to click it at all. So that's sort of just a little Easter egg type thing.
You almost need it on this page, but
Yeah.
then what do
They'll
you
click
know?
it just, once they know the confetti's there, they'll just click it just for the confetti.
Yeah, so
Yes.
we've talked about confetti a lot lately, and it's like it gives you dopamine, I think. Like, and we found this Chrome add-on as well. If you, it's just bad. I'm becoming desensitized to confetti though. But yeah, once they know it's here, they can just sit here and refresh the page, and yeah. So yeah, how did I do that? There, there's a few different pieces to this. The first is the CSS. So, and I'm lazy. So I did one CSS class that does the sort of striping, the striping in the background there. And I already had that in there. I was using it for something else. So I piggybacked off of that. And then and that's the same class that's here. So I'm using the same glow, same class, same everything. And then for the orange and the yellow, I just added some hue filters to separate classes. So I didn't have to rewrite all of this. I just changed the hue so that when you apply this class in conjunction with this class,
You get a different color.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Then the animations. So again, I had a glow already for something else. So I just kind of made a glow too, because I was being lazy. So that's where the glow comes into play. And you can see the, so glowing 2 is called somewhere. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, I don't remember how I did that. I've slept since then. But I'll show you down below where we're using the classes. But this is what's causing the glow. This is what's causing the shake on the emoticons. And I got, oh, right. So the class is up here, and we're calling glowing 2, which is the animation. So the animation is here. The class is here, calling the animation there. I got the shake animation from a third-party site called Animista, which is referenced there. And this is minified, so it's a little more hard to read. But again, shake left to right is the animation, and
So
then
that's
I'm
what's
calling it with
shaking the
class.
skull back and forth, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So this is what makes it move, and then this is what I'm applying to the div to call the animation.
Okay.
Nice.
And then down in the jQuery, I think that's it. I think this is where that ends for what I did. This is a different, again, stripey background that I'm using for something else. So then on the jQuery, so I forget things, so I don't comment them. So this is excessively commented. So this is the bit that directly points the holds queue, so they don't have to pick their library and hit run again. I add a placeholder for the count. So the report has to run to drag those numbers over, and every once in a while it's slow. So I add a little spinner like I've got down here as a placeholder. And then when the report's done running and can pull in the data, it replaces with the label. And you can see that these are never ending spinning because I've broken something. But generally, once the report's done running, the spinner gets replaced with a number or something.
Yeah, those spinners are handy. I've actually used those with the modifications that I made for our facets for when you search, which is really nice because, you know, the page loads and you don't know that, oh, it's going to change. So having those spinners there is really nice.
Yeah, it's good user experience feedback type of thing. And then here I'm pulling the count from a report, just like George was doing. I'm handling everything outside of the report. So this is what the report looks like. It's very basic. So I'm getting the total, that's the number that goes in the badge, and then I'm pulling the oldest hold on the queue there as well, which is what's calculating whether it needs to flash or not. So the count is just the total of temporary holds on whatever branch you're logged in at. And then the oldest hold is calculated here with some math that took me way too long to figure out because dates always take me too long to figure out. But basically it's saying that the oldest hold on the queue for Iola is 322 days, and everything's old in my test server. So don't be alarmed by that. And then again, we're just we're pulling that information into a span. This is how I'm checking if it's stale. So this is pulling that 322 days. And then this is the logic that's added to make it glow or not. So if this number is more than 7 days old, then I'm adding the button glow class and the stripe class to make it glow and make it stripey. This is just replacing the number with the count that I pulled up here. And then this is the logic that changes the colors, and all it's doing is adding those bootstrap classes. So we're using the default class for 0, and then I'll add a primary, and that's what turns it blue, or a danger, which turns it red. More fun date calculation. So this took way too long as well. So this is for these badges here. We're looking at the date, the holds queue date. So we're pulling this date here. And then I also needed to calculate 8 days ago because I was wanting things that were more than 7. So that's the alarm clock date. 22 is my 8 plus 22 is 30. 357 plus 8 is 365. So this is my month and my year. You can see that I've just put the emojis right in there, which is really simple. I learned this on the Slack channel, actually. If you hold the Windows key and press period, you get your emoji keyboard and you can just pick whatever you want.
Didn't even know that.
I know, it's so cool. And then I'm adding the stale class. So the stale class is what makes it glow or something. I don't know. It's a lot of moving parts here. But basically it's saying that if you subtract the holds due date from 8 days old, if that difference is in these ranges that I calculated, then it's applying the different classes and it's appending the different divs so that we get those annoying placards.
And there's the confetti underneath it.
And here's the confetti. So the confetti is a third-party thing I found on GitHub, and I did have to import that library. I don't know if there's a cleaner way to do it, but I've just put the script tag in the internet nav because that's on every page.
Right.
So I figured that would be the simplest. And this is from, you can look it up. I'll get you guys the link. I think the guy's name is Looney Crazy or something like that. But
sounds reputable.
Yeah. So basically, I imported his library from GitHub, and then this is all in the manual there, the code that he gives you. So what I've done is, if I'm on the holds queue page and the message says no items found, that's what I wanted to reward, an empty queue, then it's triggering the confetti. And you can customize the confetti quite a bit. You can customize the size, how much shows up. I did find that if you do too much confetti, it really like bogs down the browser and like lags really bad. So like 100 was pretty good. And again, you can use that emoji keyboard to insert different things into that. So I did some sharks and fishes, pizza, you know, stuff that felt rewarding.
Things that people care about.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow. Well, that is awesome. I love how flashy things are. You really dress things up. That's very cool. Both of your modifications are awesome. You know, I like George's because it puts it right there on the front page, and yours, you give incentives and you bring attention to certain things based on
yours is more
time.
fun.
But both are great, and I can see utilizing both, and maybe incorporating both in some way. I might incentivize in different ways, but no, that's very cool.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of room for modification. Like, you know, the one that I did, instead of linking to that priority holds report, it could just as easily link to the built-in holds queue. It could link to anything you wanted to.
Yeah.
So, and there's probably a way, if I sat down and worked on it some more, I could probably add the stripes and the glowing to my button if I wanted to make sure people knew, you know, some of these are really old.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for adjustment, but that was my main goal, is to get it so everybody can see on their home page how many things you got.
And mine was to make it obnoxious, and I think
yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate you sharing that, and I want to thank you again for joining us today on this episode. And before we sign off, I just want to remind everyone again to make sure that you go to our YouTube page and make sure that you subscribe so you're notified when we post new videos, and also to like and comment where you can. We want to hear back from you. So until next time, thank you, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
See you later.